What's up guys, and welcome to a new video. This is the follow-up guide to my level 1 through 50 Twisting Blades guide, and a few things have changed. I am currently level 75 and I've gotten about 3/4 of my renown done so far. I have progressed into the Paragon Board a decent amount. The character has been in World Tier 4 since like level 62 and I've had no issues, and most of the time I've been running content that's like 10 plus levels higher than I am. In this guide I will cover the skills used, gear and aspects, skill tree, and Paragon Board, followed up by gameplay at the end of the video in a nightmare dungeon that's 10 levels higher than my character is. I'm also going to be taking this build to level 100 and doing another guide very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so we'll start off with the skills that we use on the build. Up top we're going to start off with puncture. Basically we don't use this anymore, it's pretty much for just generating energy. Twisting Blades, obviously this is our bread and butter. This is the main damage dealer that we use. Down here into dash, now this is our mobility skill. It also crowd controls enemies. You get 2 charges with it. It's really nice. We also use poison trap, which knocks enemies down. It actually does a lot of things for us. You'll see in the skill tree, but it does knock enemies down. Helps with crowd control, does damage also. Just really nice to have. And then we use 2 imbuements. We use shadow imbuement, which is really nice. It helps to get energy back, resource generation, blows up packs of enemies. And then we also use poison imbuement now. We dropped Dark Shroud and we did start using poison imbuement, and this is really nice for single target or tougher enemies like elites and stuff like that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and jump into the gear and the aspects that we use, and then we will go at the end and cover the malignant heart choices. In the helmet up here, now what you want to look for in the helmet, guys, is ranks to shadow imbuement and poison imbuement. Now in this helmet I only have ranks to shadow imbuement. As you can see right there, also I have 169 life on kill. Now the build has been nerfed. You can see over here in our skill tree, if we look really quick, they nerfed Siphoning Strikes. So basically now it's on 75% chance on lucky hit, so it doesn't proc that often. I don't even use it at all. Instead, like I said up here on the helmet, I got 169 life on kill, which is always keeping my life filled up. It's really nice. And then the optimum helmet you would want with this would be getting rid of the 88 life regeneration right there, and in place of that getting 4-2 poison imbuement. That's the helmet you want to be looking for. On the helmet I also have cheats aspect. Right there you can see you take 22% less damage from crowd control enemies. Whenever a crowd control enemy deals direct damage to you, you get 15% increased movement speed, so damage reduction basically. Most enemies are crowd controlled that we go up against. For the body armor, we're going to use the aspect of disobedience. It's the best overall defensive aspect in the game. It gives us a ton more armor, so you're definitely going to want to get that on your armor. And then you want to try to get damage reduction. You can get damage like similar things that I have on my armor right here, but you want to try to get mainly damage reduction or life. Mostly damage reduction on your armor though. Down here into the gloves. Now these are actually really nice gloves. I have 4 ranks to Twisting Blades, critical strike chance, attack speed, and lucky hit chance. Those are the 4 stats you want to get on your gloves eventually when you can find them. Those are the best overall stats for the build. We want to get our lucky hit chance up as much as possible because we actually benefit a lot in this build from lucky hit in a lot of different ways. For the pants, right here we use aspect of the protector. Basically gives us a barrier when we hit an elite. And it can happen every 30 seconds. It actually helps out quite a bit. In your pants also you want to get, damage reduction, as much damage reduction as you can. Dodge chance is nice. Cooldown is nice. I have imbuement skill cooldown right there. For the boots, we go with the Mangler's aspect. You can see right here, dealing direct damage to a vulnerable enemy has up to a 43% chance to daze them for 2 seconds. We want to crowd control enemies in as many ways as we possibly can. And then when we daze enemies, they're also knocked down because of a node in our skill tree, so I'll go ahead and show that to you also. And then also we want to keep as many crowd controls as we can on the enemies because of the malignant heart choice for the wrathful heart that we use. I'll show you that in just a second also. Now basically right here, this is a stat stick. We're not going to ever use our long range weapon. We want this for the stats down below. You do want to go with the crossbow. You will get the vulnerable damage implicit, and then the best damage sources you can get on your crossbow is what I'm trying to get on this one down here. Up top you see I have critical strike damage with imbued skills. We don't really want that. Right there we'd want core skill damage, dexterity, vulnerable damage, and critical strike damage. Those are the 4 best ones that you can get. And you also want to try to get those on your weapons. For the weapons over here, you want to try to get the same things on them and get as high damage weapons as you can. Either if you find nice daggers or swords, I mean, it's up to you. They're both good in their own ways. So, and then also on your crossbow, you want to make sure to get the blade dancers aspect. Really important for the build. You know, twisting blades orbit around you. Basically, they do damage, and depending on the length that they are away from you, they do even more damage returning to you. So definitely want to have that on your crossbow. For the weapons, like I said, get the same things down below. You want all the stats we just talked about on the crossbow. On your first one right here for the aspect, you're going to want to get the accelerating aspect. Critical strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by up to 25%, which is really nice. Over here we have the blast trappers aspect. Dealing direct damage to enemies affected by your trap skills has up to 30 to 50% chance to make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. And this is really nice when you lay a trap on a boss or whatever. If it takes longer to kill them, pretty much it keeps them vulnerable the whole time while you're attacking them. So you don't have to like re-hit them again with your basic skill to get them vulnerable. Up here into the amulet, we have the Edge Masters aspect on here. You can see right there, skills deal up to 23%. Well, it goes up to 30%, but I have 23. Increased damage based on your available primary resource when cast, receiving the maximum benefit while you have full primary resource. And then, you know, our specialization on this build is Inner Sight. Basically, Inner Sight makes it to where we have like a 4-second window where our resource is just full the entire time, and we get maximum effect out of the Edge Masters aspect. So I like that over here on the amulet. On the amulet, you want to try to get energy cost reduction. I got 3 ranks to the exploit passive, which is like one of the best ones you can get. You want to try to get imbuement skill ranks if you can. I got cutthroat skill damage, movement speed. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can get on there. Into your rings. Now, my rings are halfway decent. I do need to upgrade them a bit more. By level 100, I will. But for right now, definitely what you want to get on your rings is critical strike chance, critical strike damage, vulnerable damage, and then also you want to try to get lucky hit chance if you can on there, because we're, like I said earlier, trying to get our lucky hit up as high as we possibly can. For the first aspect that we have on this ring, we have the Ravenous aspect. Killing a vulnerable enemy grants you 60% increase energy regeneration for 4 seconds. All enemies we attack are vulnerable, so we definitely want to go with that. Down here we have aspect of the Umbral that basically gives you 1 to primary resource up to 4 when you crowd control an enemy. We're constantly crowd controlling enemies, so we're getting stuff back from that. This was just imprinted off the Codex of Power. I'm trying to find a 4 if I can, hopefully in the near future. You definitely want to have those on there for your resource regeneration, and this build really doesn't have problems with resource regeneration. It's actually pretty good about it. So now we'll talk about our Malignant Heart choices. Right here we have our Wrathful Heart. We're using the one that gives us 46% multiplicative damage for each different type of crowd control effect on a target, and with this build we can stun, daze, and slow. So that can be, you know, a lot of damage. Unstoppable monsters and staggered bosses instead take 141% increased damage from your damage over time effects. Basically, the damage over time effect that we have is our poison imbuement, and this is boosting that damage quite a bit. So now a lot of people are using Barber as their Wrathful Heart. When you're in a pack of enemies, all of your critical strike damage gets built up for like however many seconds, and you do like a massive AoE of damage. Now, honestly, that doesn't help you with bosses. With this build, you drop bosses in seconds. I haven't come up to a boss yet that doesn't drop immediately. And then on top of that, I feel like you're blasting through packs and enemies so quick with this build anyways that sitting there and waiting for that to explode takes even longer. So you may see a bigger number overall when that explodes, but I feel that you'll be faster overall with this build. I like this more. And also I did try the one that gives you 15% chance to apply all imbuement skills, and that kind of sucked in my opinion. I didn't like it, so that's why I went with this. Down here for the Brutal Heart, we have when your subterfuge skill leave behind an unstable shadow decoy that taunts enemies, the shadow decoy trap will explode after 4 seconds. And that's when we use a subterfuge skill. And our poison trap is subterfuge. So basically, that leaves like a decoy with its own trap that draws enemies in. And it's really nice to get packs of enemies drawn in. Down here, we have another Brutal Heart. This one, 20% of incoming damage is instead suppressed. When you use a defensive, subterfuge, or macabre skill, all of the suppressed damage is amplified by 250% and explodes, dealing up to 9k damage. Now, you can get even higher levels of this. I seen one that went up to like 15k, and I'm sure there's even higher when you go up higher in your level and you find them. This is actually really nice. It makes all of the enemies vulnerable around you. It just explodes, kind of knocks them a little bit. I enjoyed having this one, so that's the one that I used here. Now we'll go into our specialization. Our specialization we use is inner sight. You can see right there, attack mark enemies to fill up your inner sight gauge. When it's full, gain unlimited energy for 4 seconds, which is really nice on bosses and just all the way around. Helps keep our energy up, and we're doing tons of damage anyways, so I chose that. I don't want to go with combo points and be having to spam my puncture the entire time and worry about all that. This works out great. So now we'll go into the skill tree. We're going to start off up top. I'm going to put 1 into puncture, back into enhanced, and fundamental. Basically, this can make enemies vulnerable if you hit them with at least 2 blades, and you get energy back from using that if you need it. We don't really need it with this build at this point. Down here into twisting blades, back into enhanced, and then also into improved. This makes it to where the enemy that we stick with twisting blades is dazed. Now, you could go over here into advanced twisting blades and get a little bit more cooldown. I just like this for sure chance to daze. Over here, we're going to take sturdy. We're going to get 3 points into that. Like I said, they nerfed siphoning strikes, so we're not going to put any into that with this build. Down into our agility skills, we go with dash. Now, when I go up to level 100, I might switch over to shadow step because of crowd control reasoning, but I haven't really needed it yet, and I've been running nightmare dungeons up into like 35 already, and I'm only level 75, and I haven't had any problems yet. I like dash because you can dash into packs. It slows all the enemies, crowd controls them. It's just really nice, and then you get two uses of it also. We're going to come back here into enhanced dash and then discipline dash. Over here into the weapon mastery, we're going to want to max that out. Level 3 gives us more multiplicative damage. Down into our subterfuge skill, we're going to take poison trap. Poison trap's really nice, knocks enemies down. We gain critical strike chance because of it. You're going to come back into enhanced, and then you're also going to come back into countering poison trap. The other really good thing about poison trap is there's a 30% chance, so 1 out of every 3 times that you use it, pretty much you're resetting your imbuement skills. Then we're going to come down here into exploit. Now I have 3 off of my amulet from this, so you deal 36% increased damage to healthy and injured enemies, which is a really nice multiplicative damage. We're going to get 3 points into malice. You deal 9% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. All enemies that we go up against are vulnerable. Into our imbuement skills, now we're just going to put 1 point into shadow imbuement, and then I have 4 from the gear, so it's at rank 5. Basically, we use this for going back here into shadow crash and consuming shadows. This gives us 20 energy for each monster that explodes, and with this, basically, we're making it to where packs of monsters are just exploding. It's great for trash mobs and AoE clear. We're also going to take poison imbuement back to enhanced poison imbuement and blended poison imbuement. Poison imbuement is just great. It does a lot of damage and helps with bosses and harder enemies. We're going to get 1 into deadly venoms to get back here into debilitating toxins, and poison enemies deal 15% less damage, so put 3 points into that. Down into our ultimate, we don't take any ultimate skills. We are going to go right here into adrenaline rush. We're going to put 1 point into there to get back into haste. You get more movement speed above 50% maximum energy, and you get more attack speed below. We're going to put 3 points into innervation, unlucky hit, which we have a decent chance. We have like 37% with twisting blades. Up to 30% chance to gain 8 energy back on lucky hit, which is pretty nice. Helps with our energy regeneration. We're going to get trap mastery. When poison or death trap activates, you gain 12% increased critical strike chance against vulnerable and crowd control enemies. So that's 12% more base crit chance. I think I did miss up here. We're going to grab concussive. After knocking back or knocking down an enemy, you gain 12% increased critical strike chance, so that's another 12% from poison trap. And then also trick attacks. When you critically strike a dazed enemy, they are knocked down for 0.5 seconds, which helps. You'll see on elites, you're just knocking them down left and right. We're going to come down here for our key passive, and we're going to go over into momentum. Momentum works out great with this build. You gain 3 stacks of it when you hit a stunned, dazed, or frozen enemy. You get 1 stack per, and then you get 20% increased damage reduction, 30% increased energy regeneration, and 15% increased movement speed. Alright guys, we're going to jump into the Paragon board now. Real quick before we start going into the Paragon board, guys, don't forget to run Nightmare Dungeons and level up your glyphs. You want to get them, once you hit 15, you get the bigger radius, you get more damage. You want to go all the way to 21 if you can. By level 100, all glyphs that I use will be 21 with the bigger radius, so you definitely want to remember to do that. There will be a link for this build down in the description if you guys want to check it out that way, so you can go down below and head over there. Now we're going to come up in the first board right here. We're going to grab prime, damage, life. We're going to come up here. We want to get closer in this glyph socket. It gives us cutthroat skill damage. The additional bonus gives us damage reduction of 10% or reduced damage of 10%. We're going to get lawless. We're going to come over here for skillful. We're going to get damage in this area. We're going to come up. Our second board will be the deadly ambush board. We're going to come up here. We're going to grab trapper. Now you see the bonus 15% trap skill damage if requirements are met. In a few levels we will meet the requirements of these. So basically with this though, we get trap skill damage and damage to enemies that are affected by trap skills. Be sure to grab this right here also. Then we're going to come up here. We're going to throw exploit in over here, guys. This will be the first one you want to level up of your glyphs because it gives us the vulnerable damage, which gives us a lot of overall damage and makes enemies vulnerable because of the additional bonus right there. You can see as long as you meet the requirements of 25 strength. We're going to come over here into engineering. Be sure to get all the strength that you can around, guys. We're going to come over here and we're going to get cunning. We're going to come down. We're going to grab spring loaded for trap skill cooldown, and it reduces the arm time of your traps. The next board that we come into, guys, is going to be the exploit weakness board. Now, I didn't take this. I mean, we could, but I don't think I will in the long run, to be honest with you. Choices that I did make here, though, I came up here, grab hunter killer, you know, 32% damage to elites, which is really nice. Come up here, we get more damage to elites. Eventually, I probably will take these two nodes and get more damage to elites and movement speed after killing elites. We're going to come down here. We're going to put in combat right here. Critical strike damage. This is probably our second most important glyph. I would probably level this next. Maybe cutthroat, then this, or either way. But this is a really strong glyph. Also gives us critical strike damage. And then you can see right there for the additional bonus, skills that critically strike restore 12% of their energy costs, further helping with our energy. It's just really great. We're going to come over here. We're going to get artifice, vulnerable damage, dexterity, more vulnerable damage. Get all this around here. And then we're going to come over here, get more vulnerable damage, damage to injured enemies, more vulnerable damage. Now this is at level 75. I do have a lot. I think I have 12 Paragon points already from my renown. I've almost got all my renown done. So basically, like from here, we're going to go down into another board. I will make a new guide once I hit a level 100, guys, like I was saying. So look out for that in the very near future. Hopefully this guide has been helpful. If it has, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below, guys. Let me know how your season 1's going. Any things you would change on the build, any questions that you have, I will get back to you in the comments. If you want to go ahead and stick around for the Nightmare Dungeon gameplay, it'll be right after this. Thanks for watching, guys.
Smells good. Don't stir too much, though. I'm not ready.